Let's turn our attention, though, to the world of personal finance. Dr. Roger Gievold, CEO of Fair Money, personal finance and credit expert, joins me now. Dr. Roger, good morning.
Good morning, James.
Now, I suggested that maybe you weren't frothing today, but you were perhaps wanting to provide some advice to our friend at the Bank of England, the governor.
Yes, he came out with all guns blazing yesterday and really said that the financial crash, temporary, thank goodness, of Great Britain, UK PLC following Apocaliznow and Kamekwasi's mini-budget stroke fiscal event, the effects of that, of course, had made mortgages dry up, and those few mortgages that were still around, the rates shot up to a ridiculous level. And the good news that he announced was that the mortgages were starting to become more available again, and the interest rates were easing. Liz and Kwasi's Darwinian budget survival of the fattest didn't last very long and caused tremendous damage. And he announced that good news. But as he often does, he spoiled the party because he then said that interest rates are going to go back up.
And this is an interesting point, isn't it? Which is that here is Andrew Bailey. He likes to think that he hasn't got anything to do with the problems that we have. He likes to think that he's some sort of sage, wise warrior, and he's never questioned on his strategy. Whereas I would say he partly contributed to what happened in the markets. Look, I totally point the finger at Truss and Kwarteng for putting together a budget that they didn't speak to the right people. If they'd had the right backing. I mean, for example, the cutting of the top rate of tax cost the nation £2 billion. Nothing in the scheme of things. That does not cause a market to crash. What causes a market to crash is a lack of communication and a lack of evidence to back up what you're doing. And here we have a governor of the Bank of England, and he's, as you say, been putting up interest rates as confronting the wrong problem with the wrong measure.
Well, wakey, wakey, Andy Pandy. It's time to wake up because you've been doing this for over a year. You're absolutely right, James, and nothing has happened. I mean, what he said yesterday was, oh, hey, mortgages are going to become more available. The rates are going to drop back down. It was utterly stupid, my words, not his, of Liz and Kwasi to not even come and talk to the Bank of England and tell, what kind of leader announces a budget without even speaking to the treasury of the country, the exchequer? It's ridiculous. So, yeah, sure. But I need to raise interest rates, quote, to try to curb inflation, unquote. Well, how long are you going to try? It's been a year. Inflation has not abated. And, this is also to protect the dollar. Well, guess what? That hasn't happened either.
No, well, although if one looks at the currency, I think it's now at 121, and it did go down quite significantly to 103 at one stage.
Talk to me when it's 150 again.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about Christmas. I am always fascinated about asking Jewish people about Christmas. Arguably they do it better. Anyway, interest rates, Christmas, Scrooges. Tell me more.
Well, it is Scrooge at Christmas to raise interest rates again when it's produced no effect at all. And he should take a page from Liz, his own book. If Liz and Kwasi didn't bother listening to anybody, why isn't he listening to all the people screaming? He's going to absolutely cripple even further businesses and consumers in this country. There's so many Scrooges around. You're right. One of the most incredible things is that the new head of the Charity Commission has pointed out that we are less charitable than most other countries. In terms of what he calls the philanthropic deficit, we're £5 billion behind New Zealand and Canada.
Yeah, but but I agree with that. But the thing is that until or unless anybody creates a tax system that makes it almost worthwhile for those who are wealthy to give their money. And you might say, oh, well, you shouldn't and you should just give it. It's very easy to spend somebody else's money. And people spend their time doing that. And we have to find ways in which we encourage it to happen. And part of that is cultural, but also part of it is through simplifying the tax system. And if people feel that they're paying enough already into the system, and why should they, then we've got a problem.
Yeah, but I mean, you're absolutely correct in principle, but in practice, James, I mean, many of our billionaires, he said, give an average of, are you seated? Yes, you are,
I am.
48 pounds a month. Come on.
Yeah, no,
He also,
I mean, frankly, I'm not a billionaire by any stretch of the imagination. Of modest means, I would suggest. And I would say that I give a heck of a lot more than that.
well, this is what's so shameful. Do people like that need tax incentives? I mean, my goodness. He also praised, in contrast, the contributions, monetary and volunteering wise, of the poorer demographics of our economy. So, people without a lot of money do give charitably, more than the top 1%, apparently, on a pro rata basis. It's insane. And we're far behind all these other countries. So Scrooge at Christmas time.
Oh dear. You've left us on a miserable note, Roger.
Well, I think the happy note is that interest rates on mortgages are coming back down. And that there are more mortgages available. There was a tremendous drop, more than a third, from the time of the quasi budget. And at least it's good news to see that coming.
At least it is. There we go. Dr. Roger Givolb, CEO of Fair Money, personal finance and credit expert. Thank you so much for joining us once again this morning here on Talk TV, where I'm